Disclaimer: the source material for this story is from old poems, painting, folk songs and myths. The Return of the Sampo, an epic tale from Finnish mythology by Random Access Rem. The second theft. The wind above the Northlands carried an old pain that night, a cry from Pohjola, where the witch queen Louhi had once again stretched her shadow over the world of men. From the birch groves of Kaliva to the iron-capped peaks of the north, the news moved as fast as lightning between clouds. The Sampo was gone. That miraculous mill of plenty, the giver of grain, salt and gold, had vanished once more from its guarded hall. Farmers found their fields barren overnight. The fishermen pulled up empty nets. In the sky, the stars dimmed as if ashamed. And so, by moon's light and the sound of distant wolves, 3 figures met upon the misty shore of the Kalevalan Sea. Väinämöinen stood first tall, grey-bearded, and grave as ancient stone. His eyes were calm, but behind them roared the wisdom of countless ages. His kantele, strung with the hair of a slain maiden of the sea, hung upon his back. Beside him, Lemminkainen leaned on his spear, restless as a gust through reeds. His amber hair gleamed like flame. He was the wild heart of men, lover, fighter, trickster, and fool. The gods had granted him charm and courage, but not caution. The third was Ilmarinen, the eternal smith, whose hands forged the very dome of heaven. He came bearing a hammer blackened by storm fire, eyes that glowed with the heat of anvils long cooled. They said nothing for a long while, for the north wind itself seemed to speak, whispering the witch queen's name. "Louhi," murmured Väinämöinen. "The crone of Pohjola walks again. Then she walks to her death," said Lemminkainen, with his fierce grin. "We'll rip the Sampo from her claws." Ilmarinen shook his head. "We tried that once before, brother. The Sampo was shattered. The seas drank its pieces. Yet now it returns whole again. That means some power beyond ours mends it." "The world mends what the world needs," said Väinämöinen. "But need and greed share the same mother. We must go north." And so they set sail upon a raft of pine, beneath an aurora that writhed like the tail of some celestial serpent. The second quest for the Sampo had begun. 2. The Bear's Path. For 3 nights and 3 dawns they journeyed, their boat slicing through mists thick as milk. They followed a trail of signs. Only Väinämöinen could read a swirl of crows, a shifting star, a whisper in the current. At last they came to Karhula, the sacred forest where the holy bear ruled. It was said that before any soul might walk toward the deep places of knowledge, they must first be granted the bear's blessing, for even wisdom must kneel before strength. The trees there grew so close together that the daylight itself was trapped between them, dripping like honey through the leaves. Moss muffled every footstep. The smell of pine sap and old fir hung thick in the air. Lemminkainen spat. "I've killed bears before." "Not this one," Väinämöinen replied. A deep growl rolled through the forest, shaking the frost from the branches. The earth trembled under paw-steps larger than thunder itself. Out from between the trunks stepped the holy bear Otso, son of the forest mother, kin of the stars. Its fur shimmered with starlight. Its breath rose like fog. Its eyes glowed with sorrow and memory, for the bear remembered every hunter who had ever sung its name. It spoke without moving its jaws. "Who walks my path without my blessing?" Väinämöinen bowed. "We are the children of Kaliva. We come seeking the right to pass to the library of Antero Vipunen." "Why?" "To recover that which brings balance to the world, the Sampo, stolen again by the witch of the north." The bear sniffed the air. "Many seek riches, few seek balance." Then its gaze fell upon Lemminkainen, who tried to look brave but shuffled his feet. "This one's heart beats with fire and folly. He has broken oaths, hunted without thanks, spoken to women as though they were spoils of war. Lemminkainen winced. Ah, you've heard stories. The forest hears everything, rumbled the bear. Ilmarinen placed a hand upon his brother's shoulder. He fights with courage, even if wisdom often leaves his company. The bear looked to Wainamoinen. And you, old singer, what do you offer the forest in return for safe passage? Wainamoinen straightened. The air thickened, and his voice became something more than sound. He began to sing. It was not a song of words, but of the spaces between them, a melody that shaped wind, root, and water. The trees bent toward him, the stones hummed beneath their moss. Even the bear closed its eyes, and for a moment the forest remembered the first dawn. When he finished, silence hung like gold. The bear knelt. You are worthy, Wainamoinen, son of Kaleva. You and your companions may pass, but remember, the path to wisdom ends where pride begins. The trio bowed deeply. The bear's breath became mist once more, and then it faded into the woods, leaving behind only the echo of its voice. Sing wisely, smith strongly, love fiercely, and perhaps you'll survive the north. End of 3. The library of Antero Vipunen. Beyond the forest lay a valley that descended like a wound in the world. There, hidden beneath slabs of stone older than the moon, was the library of valuable spells and knowledge, guarded by Antero Vipunen, the sleeping giant. The air grew heavy as the heroes descended into the dark. The stairs seemed endless, carved by hands that knew neither fear nor fatigue. At intervals, runes glimmered on the walls, whispering fragments of forgotten languages. Lemminkainen muttered, "Feels like a grave." "Every library is a grave," said Ilmarinen. "A grave of what was once alive. And yet from those graves, new worlds are born," added Wainamoinen. At last, they entered a vast chamber lit by a golden beam of light falling from nowhere. Dust hung like snowflakes in the air. Shelves stretched into darkness, filled with scrolls bound in leather, bark, and bone. In the center of the room hovered a single scroll, spinning slowly in the shaft of light. Ilmarinen whistled softly. That must be it, the spell of passage. They stepped closer, and the ground trembled. From the shadows rose the form of Antero Vipunen, the giant of buried wisdom. His skin was stone, his beard tangled with vines and parchments. His voice was the rumble of collapsing mountains. "Who wakes me from my slumber of centuries?" Wainamoinen bowed. "It is I, old friend, Wainamoinen, son of Kaleva." The giant's eyes opened, like molten gold. "I know that voice. I swallowed you once, did I not? And I sang my way out," said Wainamoinen, smiling faintly. "Ha, I remember. You sang of the sky's forging and the sea's birth until my ribs trembled. I have not forgotten the pain, nor the beauty." The giant leaned down, his breath stirring their hair like a storm. "Why come you again, singer of ages?" "Louis has stolen the Sampo." A growl echoed through the stone. "Again? That hag of the north never tires of greed." "We seek the scroll that grants passage to Manala," said Wainamoinen. "Only there can we confront her shadows." The giant regarded them for a long moment. "You ask for the key to death's own door. So be it," said Ilmarinen. "We've walked that path before." "Have you?" said the giant, amused. "Few who walk it return." He reached out a hand vast as a valley. The scroll descended from its golden light and landed upon his palm. "Take it, if you can lift it," said the giant. Lemminkainen stepped forward and grasped it, but the scroll would not move. It weighed like the world's sorrow. Ilmarinen tried next, his muscles bulging, but even the smith's arms failed. At last Wainamoinen laid his hand upon it and whispered, Knowledge is not for the strong nor swift, but for the humble. The scroll rose lightly into his hand, weightless now. The giant laughed, the sound rolling like thunder. Still the clever tongue. Go then, and remember, to read that scroll is to invite the gaze of Tuoni himself. The dead do not welcome visitors. We shall not linger, Wainamoinen promised. Antero Vipunen leaned back into the stone, his eyes dimming. Then I sleep again until the world forgets itself. As the trio turned to leave, the giant's final words echoed faintly. Beware. Sons of Kalevalui is not alone. She commands what even gods fear. IV. The descent to Manala. Outside the cavern, the sky churned with grey. The heroes climbed to a plateau where the northern lights burned like torn banners across the heavens. Wainamoinen unrolled the scroll. The runes upon it shone like liquid fire, forming a spiral that seemed to lead downward through the paper itself. He began to sing the words aloud. The ground cracked. Winds shrieked. Between the stones yawned a chasm filled with cold blue flame, a portal. Manala, whispered Ilmarinen, the realm of the dead. Without hesitation, Wainamoinen stepped forward. Let us go. They fell through light and shadow, through memories not their own, through silence so deep it made thought ache, and then ground. Cold ground, black as obsidian. They stood on the shore of Tuonela, the river of death. The water was still and dark, reflecting neither star nor sky. In the distance, a dim glow marked the hall of Tuoni, where the dead wandered without end. Shades moved among the rocks, pale forms with hollow eyes. Some looked like warriors, others like mothers or children, all drifting aimlessly, murmuring songs that had forgotten their words. No heaven, no hell, whispered Lemminkainen, just this endless twilight. So the old faith teaches, said Wainamoinen. The good and the wicked share the same shore. Then let's find Louhi and end her reign here. They crossed the river upon a bridge made of bones, guarded by serpents whose scales gleamed like moonlight. Ilmarinen struck them with sparks from his hammer, and the creatures hissed but parted. On the far side rose a palace of black ice. Its spires curved like talons. From within came the sound of whispering winds, voices that were not voices. V. The Witch of Pohjola. Louhi sat upon a throne of frozen tears. Her hair, long and white as hoarfrost, fell around a crown of shadow. In her lap rested the Sampo, glowing with every colour of greed, gold, wheat, salt and sea. Ah, she said softly, the old fool's return. Her voice was like snow falling on graves. Did you think I would not rebuild it? The world needs hunger as much as harvest. Wainamoinen raised his hand. You cannot bind the fate of the world to your thirst. Thirst drives life, singer, said Louhi. Without desire, even the gods would wither. Ilmarinen stepped forward. You stole what belongs to all, to farmer, to smith, to mother and child. I took what no one guarded, she said simply. And now I guard it better than any. Lemminkainen drew his blade. Then guard yourself. The witch rose, spreading her arms. The shadows around her thickened, taking form spirits of Manala, bound by her will. They came like a storm, skeletal beasts, eyeless maidens, and the faceless warriors of the underworld. Lemminkainen laughed and leapt into the fight, spear flashing. Ilmarinen's hammer burned with the forge's fury, each strike shattering spectres like glass. Wainamoinen stood still, chanting his song, weaving light that cut through the gloom. The dead wailed. Falling back before the music, Louhi hissed and raised her hands, summoning frost and darkness. Ice spears burst from the ground. Lemminkainen dodged one, but another pierced his side. He fell, gasping, blood freezing as it left him. Wainamoinen's song broke for a moment, sorrow in his throat. But Ilmarinen roared, slamming his hammer into the ice floor. Fire erupted, spreading in rings. The air screamed as ice met flame. Louhi staggered. The Sampo trembled in her arms. Wainamoinen seized the moment, his song rising once more, not of battle, but of remembrance. The shades around them halted, recognizing the tune a lullaby of the living world, of wind through birch and laughter by firelight. The spirits began to fade, whispering thanks. Louhi shrieked, "Traitors! You belong to me!" "They belong to no one," said Wainamoinen, "not even death." The witch hurled the Sampo into the air, and it shattered, but this time the shards turned to light, spiraling around them. From each shard rose a sound, the cry of gulls, the whisper of rivers, the heartbeat of the earth. The Sampo was returning to the world, beyond her reach. Louhi screamed as the light consumed her form, dissolving into a swarm of ravens that fled across the dead sky. The silence that followed was absolute. V.I. The price of passage. Ilmarinen knelt beside Lemminkainen. The young hero's skin was pale, his breath shallow. "He's dying," murmured the smith. "He's died before," said Wainamoinen grimly. "And the Mother of Waters returned him once." He sang again softly this time, weaving threads of life. The song reached the river and returned with echoes of ancient power. A shimmer passed over Lemminkainen's wound, and the blood ceased to flow. He coughed, opened his eyes and grinned weakly. "Did we win?" "We live," said Ilmarinen. "That will do." The scroll of passage floated before them, burning now with fading light. "We must return," said Wainamoinen. "The gate will close soon." They grasped hands and stepped into the spiral once more. The world turned inside out, and they emerged upon the snowy plains of Kaliva, beneath a dawn as red as new forged copper. 7. The return of the Sampo. When they looked to the east, they saw a glow upon the sea, and from the waves rose the Sampo reborn, whole and shining, as if the world itself had rebuilt it from memory. Its light spread across the waters, awakening fish, green shoots, and the first birds of spring. The people came from their huts, kneeling in wonder. Wainamoinen raised his voice to the wind. "Let the Sampo remain not in the hands of one, but in the heart of all. Let its riches be song, courage, and craft, not gold." Ilmarinen nodded, striking the ground with his hammer. Sparks flew and became new stars in the dawn sky. Lemminkainen lifted his spear, laughing through his pain. "Next time it's stolen, I'll stay home." "You'll never stay home," said Wainamoinen, smiling. "True," admitted the hero, "but I'll complain louder." The old demigod chuckled. "Then all is as it should be." And so the Sampo returned to its rightful place, not hidden in vault or hall, but scattered through every act of creation, every harvest, every song sung beneath the northern lights. Louhi's ravens still haunt the edges of the world, whispering of her return. But for now, the land rests, and the old heroes fade once more into legend until the north calls them again. 8. Epilogue: The Singer's Farewell. Years later, when the world had grown quieter, and the old ways began to fade, a traveller came upon an ancient man by a lakeside. He was plucking at a cantel whose strings shimmered with light. The traveller asked, "Old one, what became of your companions?" Wainamoinen smiled, his beard white as snow. "Ilmarinen still forges, shaping stars where the sky is thin. Lemminkainen still chases trouble across the winds. As for me, I sing the world awake each morning and to sleep each night. And the Sampo? It lies wherever hearts create in the blacksmith's spark, the mother's lullaby, the poet's verse. It was never truly stolen, nor truly found. It lives as long as the world remembers the song. He strummed once more, and the air filled with echoes of forests, bears, and forgotten gods. The traveller wept, without knowing why. When he looked again, the old man was gone, only ripples upon the lake and a whisper on the wind. Sing wisely, smith strongly, love fiercely. And the north wind carried the words beyond the horizon, where Louis's shadow could never reach.